Okay, hi everyone, welcome back, and in this update we are going to check out Polygon's price chart. But before that, I want to answer a very important question that one of you guys asked. I think it was like 2 weeks ago in the comment section, and I would like to apologize to that person for not answering it quicker. So the question was about this: why is it that Polygon performing worse relative to other altcoins? And in my opinion, we are exactly in the right place and we haven't performed worse than other alts at all. Why? Let's go on a chart that has more data, maybe from crypto.com. Yes, there we go. Let's put the chart on logarithmic scale. Okay, where is the lowest low? It's right around here, about like the 1 cent area. From here, we got a massive bull run back in 2021, and the all-time high is about $3. Now, let's just measure this whole bear market from the highest high to about the lowest low. This is about like a 95% move on the downside, and I need you to specifically pay attention to this consolidation pattern, because price-wise we are having something very similar to Algorand. However, pattern-wise, this looks a lot like what is happening in QNT. Why? Let's go around here. You see, in QNT, when we entered a bear market starting from the highest high about $400, we basically had an initial strong move down, followed by a long-term drawn-out consolidation pattern. And in this phase, a lot of alts were seeing massive moves on the downside. And the moment that their moves down actually ended in quant, instead we got the next phase of our bear market, and a lot of people in here were really disappointed at QNT, and they were saying that we are performing much worse than the other altcoins. But if you measure the percentages, they are actually pretty much equal, but there is a timing difference in here. Now, in Polygon, the situation I think is the same. Why? Because in this consolidation pattern, in a lot of alts, we saw some massive moves on the downside, and right around here, when most alts hit the lows and started a relatively strong uptrend, in Polygon, we pretty much had the opposite. Do I have a good example of that? Let's check out Algorand's chart and see what is going on. Maybe it's best to go on crypto.com. There we go. So let's go on weekly time frame and so on more. So okay, where is the lowest low down here? It's about 10 cents. We had basically about like a 30x move on the upside, and the highest high is similar to Polygon, around $3. Now, where is the lowest low in this bear market? It's all the way down here, about 8 cents. But in Polygon, the lowest low is about 15 cents. So according to this example, Polygon actually performed much better than Algorand, and this is about, let's actually measure it real quick. As you can see, a 97% move on the downside. And I promise you, in most alts, the situation is pretty much the same. And in this phase down, when in Algo and in a lot of other altcoins, we were seeing some good moves on the downside, Polygon was just consolidating. And in this phase, when we got a good move up in Algo, Polygon finally started to have its last move on the downside. So the point that I'm trying to make is this: in Polygon, I do not believe that we have been underperforming. I think we are exactly in the right place at the right time. And I'm really hoping that this point right in here, about 15.5 cents, is going to be our final low. Now, about what is happening in the short term specifically, I would like to argue we pretty much nailed it, but there is a very small difference in here, and I have some doubts about this thing right in here being a correction. But if you remember, in the previous update, we were actually right around here, and the idea was, let's hope that most likely we are having a consolidation pattern, a correction into our wave 4, and then we are going to have another move up into this wave 5. But this is not going to be a long opportunity, because after a 5 wave on the upside, even if we are looking bullish and optimistic, we are going to have a move down. And I specifically said, assuming that in that phase I see the right structures, fair enough, that can be a buy and probably a decent long opportunity, depending on the risk to reward ratio factor. So what happened? We did get a move down. However, I think this move down is a bit questionable. Why is that? You see, one very important characteristic of a corrective movement is being slow and choppy. However, by no means this is a slow move down. Let's just measure timing wise from this high to about here. How long did it take for us to have this thing? About 200 candlesticks. And yes, this move up happened in about 250 candlesticks. So essentially this move down is a bit stronger than this one up, and that, my friends, is not really a characteristic of a correction, and it does make me question this structure. So what is it that I'm trying to say? I'm trying to tell you, maybe it's best for us to just sit this one out and see what is going to happen. And there is a good chance that we are on our way to complete a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 impulsive structure down. And after it, one way or the other, we are going to have a move on the upside. But the move itself, like we said that in the previous video, is not really that important. What really matters is the shape of the move. If we get a strong bounce, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fair enough, that can be an optimistic side. If we get a slow and choppy move, okay, this might be a bit of a bearish setup. And we talked about this subject, I believe it was in Chainlink's video. You see, whenever we are having a couple of lows very, very close together, usually people in here go long and their stop losses is under these lows. And if you have been in this market for quite a bit, you probably know what I'm about to say. The price has a tendency to just absolutely destroy those people. And well, that means you are most likely going to see a rather strong move on the downside in order to hit all these people's stop loss. Why is this important? Because in Polygon, I believe we may have the same situation. Let's hide everything. Okay, as you can see, these lows are extremely close together, and that makes me say, since also this move down is quite strong, soon we are probably going to see yet another move on the downside in order to clear all the lows, and maybe we are going to go a bit lower than that, and then after it, I'm looking for some bounce backs in Polygon. So for now, I do not believe that this is, for me at least, just from my point of view, you can have a different opinion. I absolutely respect it. For me, this is not a long opportunity, and I'm just going to sit this one out and see what's going to happen next. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in Polygon. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time. Goodbye.